Hey guys, this is Orin Productions, aka Number 4673, and I am back in Lake of Voices. I have made this sort of intro so many times because I've tried recording so many different games, but none of them felt right. I have so many things excuses as to why I haven't been uploading, but I'm too tired to explain all of them in detail, so bullet points: I moved out, and my computer broke, and the files that I had recorded Ebon Light on that computer is still on that computer, so I'm gonna have to play some stuff that I've already recorded through again, which I haven't had the energy to do. That's all. This game, anyway, is my newest attempt at a new game that I want to try and play. It is Lake of Voices. It is by GB Patch, by the creators of XOXO Droplets, and while that series kind of died out mostly because of the stat rising, which I found incredibly tedious. While the story was great, that was just not enough for me to justify recording it, because the stat rising just drove me literally insane. But I still really like them and what they do. I really enjoy their writing. I really like, what they do. And what I love even more is that they come out with XOXO Droplets, which is this kind of cutesy, comedy, funny, romance, dating sim, otome game kind of thing. But at the same time, they also make these kinds of games, this game, which I generally know nothing about, except that I know it's a horror game. They're also currently working on XOXO Blood Droplets, which is XOXO Droplets spin-off, but where everyone's a murderer, basically. So with the comedy and horror twist, which I'm really excited in seeing how that's gonna play out. This is just a horror game as far as I've seen. I know there are romance options, I think, but mostly this game is probably going to be about surviving and not dying, which I'm bad at. I don't even know what kind of main character we play as. Is that our main character? Is this lady here the one we play, or is this an important character? I don't know. I don't know anything about this game at all. But I'm excited anyway. Long intro out of the way. Let's just crack at it. Let's see how much we can fail at this game. I heard it's a bit difficult. I might be wrong though. It's gonna be horrible. Okay, let's go. Choices. You'll need to make various decisions throughout Lake of Voices. Here are a few details to keep in mind. Excuse me. Certain choices are timed. Time running out isn't something to completely avoid. In some cases, not getting involved can open up new possibilities. Other choices aren't timed. These options only determine whether Kika, that might be our main character, Kika, has special affection for another character or not. If you survive until the second night, the story will branch into one of 5 different plot lines based on your earlier decisions. The other characters cannot manage all situations in the various plot lines, regardless of what you do. If a character isn't making it, try getting that plot with a different set of survivors, or having the same group of characters' adventures through some other storyline. Alright. Becoming closer to someone can add and or remove future choice options and can change how some scenes play out. Your decision to build that connection may not go unnoticed by the other characters. Earning the full amount of affection with a certain character can require getting into specific plot lines. This is complicated. This is very bad. I might have fucked myself. That's okay. Let's go. Alright, just straight into it. My grip on my lantern tightens as the fog around us thickens. While the forests in this area are relatively safe compared to Sinlos, I can't help but feel my hair stand on end the further we get. My free hand fingers the hilt of my sword, something akin to a nervous reflex. Oh, I didn't actually know this was is this a fantasy thing? I don't know. I'm so lost.
Have you seen it before?
Holy shit, it's voiced. Alright, just gonna have to... That scared the shit out of me. Alright, sorry, just got I saw voice, but I thought it was partially voiced, but no, it's fully voiced. Okay. That is cool. Never been much for voice acting in visual novels. Nothing personal against nothing personal, just preference. I'm just gonna forget that voice and try to come up with my own. Or I might just mimic it. Have you seen it before? Bimel breaks the silence, either sensing my unease or as swashing his own. I don't know that word. I hope it's for the latter. Oh, we cute, girl. Alright. I haven't. I've had no reason to go near this cursed lake until now. What of you? Bimel scratches his chin casually, as though I asked what his favorite food is. I traveled the long way around it once before. Not so pleasant. Something about it just frays your nerves, although even being near it is enough. So I'm not the only one who feels it. A sense of relief hits me, but not enough to undo the buzzing of anxiety. The lake, Sinlas. Most try their best to avoid it all their lives. The hundreds who die attempting to cross it is its unearthly black water, dragged to the death by creatures lurking within, aren't a secret. No wonder you were assigned this mission. There are few who have had first-hand experience with the place, even from a distance. He'll probably keep being picked whenever they need someone to cross, for however long he's with us. Bimel shrugs, bringing my attention back to the dark path before us. At least we're taking the bridge this time. It'll only take 2 days instead of double that, and the sooner this place is behind us, the better. It would be preferable not to risk it, but time is of the essence. We really don't have a choice. One of our allied villages, Hemmer, is being harassed by brigaders, a band of ruffians. We don't have many guards to send as an assist, only Bimel and myself. The least we can do is survive before we are too late to be of any use. These kinds of squabbles happen often, but have to be put down lest they turn into a blood grudge or an all-out war. The last we heard, neither option was that far off. I can also see why they chose you to come out here. I glance at Bimel, an eyebrow raised. A slight smile plays across his lips. You're always so calm and so serious. Nothing can get to you. You're the best choice they had. A smile tugs at my own lips. I would like to thank him, but that wouldn't be so calm and serious as he just described. And if that's how he sees me, I'd like to keep it that way. My lack of reaction only makes his smile grow, and he chuckles a bit before refocusing on the path. I do the same. It wouldn't be right to let my guard down in a place like this. Bimel appears to feel differently, however. You know, the town on the other side of the lake, though. You know, it's not so similar to ours. If all goes well, perhaps we'll have enough time to enjoy the new area. For the most part, I ignore him, nodding when applicable. Bimel is a talkative sort, and if chatting helps keep his worries down and his sword hand ready, I have no complaints. Oh, that is bad. Ooh, is it moving? I think I might be. Yeah, I think I'm It looked like the fog was moving for a second, but I think I'm just blind. After a time, the thick fog surrounding us begins to clear. A slick wooden dock comes into view, and with it, the sounds of water gently lapping at its sides. Bimel shifts beside me, stretching his lantern arm as far as it will go. He seems tense. Someone's already here. A young woman stands by the dock, eyeing us wearily. Does she intend to cross tonight? Evidently, she has the same question. As we step up next to her, it's clear she isn't simply passing by. She's waiting. The stranger nods curtly to us. Margaret. Kicker the Steadfast. Sorry, it was just... Kicker the Steadfast. Bimel. Hello. Hi, Bimel, hello. I'm Dad. There's a stuffy silence. Margaret turns to gaze out across the lake, expression unclear. With so much to say, Bimel and I do the same. with not much to say. Jesus. From here, the black surface of the lake looks disarmingly calm. The wind rushes across its surface, a sound like whispering. Though perhaps it is actually whispering, I concentrate, trying to place the difference, searching for breaks and rhythm. After a few seconds, I feel foolish. No matter what the noise is, whether I hear them or not, we're not alone. The Nixai are out there. The Nixai? A feeling that I can't quite shake tells me they've already noticed the little group of people on their shores. It feels hostile. My stomach sinks, and I instead address Bemel. Where's the guide? Unless he's on the center island, or on the completely other side, your guess is as good as mine. It's dark as pitch out there. Panic rises inside me, a panic I try hard to quell. We can't cross without him. Why is everybody British? I do this all the time. Why? Okay, I've promised, the next character is going to be very American, like, a lot of American. We can't cross without him, and we need to get going soon. You can't cross with him either. The woman behind us, Margaret, cuts in with something like a snort. What? I know the guide will be here tonight. I've already made arrangements with him to cross. Bemel and I share a look. The woman seems haughty and willing to put up a fuss. I have his word he'll take me today. It would be wiser for the two of you to begin the trip around if you're really in such a hurry. Or you can make camp here and wait for him to make the trip back if you prefer. I don't need to turn my attention to Bemel to know he's riled up. I'll step in before he can say something rash. Even if that is so... Oh god, that was... Okay, I need to stop. Even if that is so, my companion and I must begin the trip tonight. Margaret is unimpressed and opens her mouth to argue further. We will wait for the guide to arrive before coming to a conclusion about any of this. She clamps her mouth shut, then lets out a sigh. You can do as you like. With the matter tentatively settled, Bemel moves away. His finger begins to tap loudly against the top of his hilt. He shifts from one foot to another, then groans. What's that bastard even up to? I almost visibly start, but manage to restrain myself. He probably doesn't know any better. I'm sure of that. It's not worth mentioning. With a mouth like that, you shouldn't even have the right to ask that question to take you across. That guide to take you across. How ludicrous. He's faced far worse with than a bit of foul language. Do you know anything that's happened on this lake? I know enough. Margaret is clearly not convinced, but she shrugs and makes a show of turning her back to him. The guide's father is Garvin, the exemplar. Garvin never accepted the guide as his son all the way up until he died in this lake. Your statement could be seen as tasteless. Oh. Bemel rubs the back of his neck, his face regretful. My apologies to the guide. I didn't mean it that way. I never knew about that. A smile spreads across my face when I quickly wipe away. He really did just misspeak. The silence slowly stretches between the three of us, growing more awkward with each passing second. Margaret seems irritated, and Bemel abashed. Alright, so Margaret choice, Bemel choice, none of them. Right, so Margaret and Bemel are, well, I'm not sure if they're both romance options, but they're people you can get close to, I guess. I don't know, I'd like to bide my time, maybe. Well, of the two, I like Bemel more so far, but we have seen so little of them. Like, I've seen, more of him than I've seen of Margaret. She is cuter than Bemel, though. I'll go with Bemel for now. Maybe. Wait. Sounds like someone breathing in. Way to ruin it. That's a cool effect though. I kind of like it. It kind of scared me for a second too. I really like the music, the piano soundtracks. Very, very nice. I don't know. Sure. I know you. You're brash, but not intentionally cruel. I'm sure all is well. Bamel smiles and claps me on the back. You're a good woman, Kika. Smart too. You've never been here, yet you knew more of the guide than I did. I know about Garvin, truthfully. Tales of his deeds were some of the only stories my parents ever told. Is that so? You could tell me more about it sometime. I pause, unsure how to respond to this type of request. I would like that very much. Yes, I wouldn't mind that. It must wait until after this trip, though. Of course, we should drop this topic sooner rather than later in any case. I agree. Even if there's no harm meant, hearing someone mention Garvin is probably difficult for the guide, no matter what the circumstance. With the topic dropped, we each remain locked inside our own thoughts, not another word passing between us. Eventually, a small light appears. Oh, yeah! That wasn't there before, was it? Oh god, you can't go back. Well, it is a game where decisions matter, I guess. God damn it. My only safety net, the rollback button. Eventually, a small light appears on the bridge ahead, gently swaying through the foggy air. It gets closer and closer until it becomes apparent it's a figure carrying a lantern. That must be the guide, although I can't shake the ghostly aura it gives off. The figure steps onto the shore, but we wait for him to approach us instead of going to meet him. None of us are sure how close to the waters we can get before it's no longer safe. There he is. He stops in front of us and simply stares. Are you the guide of Sinless? The man nods. He has a sharp face and weary eyes. Well, that's grand. We would like an escort across the lake. Bamel motions to the two of us, and Margaret approaches, a strange smile on her face. Hello. It's so good to see you again. I'm ready to cross as we've agreed upon. The guide turns to face her as well, face remaining unchanged. Must not be a lie. He would have said so, something otherwise. She really does have a preference to travel with him. That's a problem. Is there any way we can all begin the trip tonight? Oh god, I promised you would be American. This is gonna be terrible. Okay. Yes, I've allowed all 3 of you to go. But with that many, at least one will die before we reach the other side. I furrow my brow. It's a disturbing addendum, and one offered with little emotion attached. Bamel glares back, and asking without asking what we're supposed to do with such circumstances. You should go around. The sentence hangs in the air, the second half unspoken, if you want to live. This voice is taking all of the horror out of it, but... We don't have time for that. There are people counting on us for protection. Where does she need to go? He jerks the finger at Margaret, whose face contorts with anger. I don't need to explain myself to you. My journey has already been put off once, and I was promised I could go today. I will be going under any circumstances. She meets Bamel's eyes with a gaze of steel. He starts to speak, and she cuts in. An extra day or 2 shouldn't be much of a problem for you. Whoever you're meeting can surely wait a tiny amount longer. Patience is a virtue, after all. Shit. No. Do you have to go all the way down like this? Alright, here we go. Just gonna read what I didn't get to. The night is only so long, and if we're still on the bridge, it's when the sun comes up, we all die as they sink back into the surface. If you don't decide soon, no one will be going. Alright, that's what he said. The guide is dispassionate, stoic. I could almost feel something wrong with him if I didn't share the trait myself. Bamel pulls me to the side, jaw clenched tight. That woman isn't armed. His voice is low. He darts a glance at Margaret. We can easily get her to back off if we make this into an actual fight. After all, we have to go tonight, yes. If one of us is really to die, it'll be her. Would staying be a worse fate than her death? I stare at the dog, refusing to meet Bemel's eyes, and try to keep my voice as level as possible. We don't know her situation. This isn't a decision we can make for her. What? Bemel leans in closer, apparently having missed what I said. I remove the sympathy for her in my response when I speak again. The guide won't accept something like that, I assume. His face is grim. And what else do you have in mind? First of all, you and I cannot split up. Either we both stay or we both go. Right, that's not a question. I cross my arms, a hand on my chin. I have full confidence in my abilities and in Bemel's, but there's no reason to believe the guide knows exactly what he's talking about. If we go, he might not be able to give the group the attention we each deserve. That would mean we would truly be putting Margaret's life at risk on top of our own. I believe we should go. This is such a bad idea. And I believe you. Bemel's reply is firm. My steadfastness almost seems weak in comparison to his certainty. He addresses the guide. We shouldn't waste more time. Let's shove off. The guide slowly turns without even a nod to show his agreement. Margaret stares at Bemel and me, something of a resolve in her gaze. Then she follows after the guide. At least she didn't insist we stay behind. We should do what we can to protect her. It's our fault she's being put in even further in danger. Exactly my thoughts. We will take care of everything. Maybe I'm being naive, but I have no intentions of letting anyone fall victim to this lake tonight. Those monsters can starve. We're all gonna die. I'm so bad at this. I smile at him for a change, and Bemel eagerly smiles back. We're lucky to have each other in this, I guess. He turns to follow the others across. I will protect everyone in this trip. I will. We will make it through this. Then I step onto the dock and join them. And got an achievement. This is bad. This is real bad. As soon as I step onto the wood, the temperature drops. The light of my lamp shines against the water's surface as reflective as a mirror. Until we reach land again, death is only one small mistake away. We fall into line with the guide, each leading the way. The guide leading the way. Margaret stays close to him, and I behind her, watching to make sure she doesn't slip on the slick, wet wood. Bemel brings up the rear. Each of us hold our lanterns in front of us, but it does little good. The fog is thick and night impenetrable, consuming the light as if hungry for it. Above the surface of the lake, it's deathly quiet. No longer is there the whispering wind nor the sound of water lapping against the shore. It's just our own mismatched footsteps and the sound of my quickened breathing. My eyes drift back to the lake against my better judgment. It's no wonder there's even the sound of water with how still the surface is. It's no wonder there's not even... Okay, whatever. It seems almost sturdy, with the sheen of black marble floor. I've heard rumors of the water of Sinlas is heavier. More difficult to disturb than natural water. That just the weight of its oppressive cling is enough to keep someone down, even without them. Something even darker than the abyss of the lake flickers just below the surface, or at least I think it does. I turn my gaze to Margaret's bag. It's better to stay focused. I think I'm gonna change his voice. Like, as much as I love that voice, it is very, very ill-fitting for a horror game. So, Jeremy? Fall back a bit. You're following me too closely. The guide is looking over his shoulder, addressing Margaret. I'm sorry. If someone gets pulled into the lake, they'll instinctively reach for anything to hold on to. Do not let that be you. Margaret's shoulders rise and she nods with great seriousness. I understand. Thank you for the advice. He ignores her gratitude. You can speak amongst yourselves if you so choose, as long as you pay attention to where you're going. There's no worth in listening to the sounds out there. If there's anything at all, it'll only be Nick's eye trying to set you on edge. Alright, then could you tell us your name? You didn't have a chance to properly introduce yourself, and I've only heard you being referred to as the guide. I don't have a name. He's facing the front again, his voice as expressionless as before. I have no way of guessing how he feels as he says this. Oh. It's probably not something he wishes to talk about. However, there was something else I wanted to say, so changing the subject is not difficult. Margaret, thank you for allowing us to join you. Margaret shrugs non-committedly. It wasn't exactly up to me. The guide said he would take you. She hesitates, then she looks tentatively over her shoulder at me. But thank you for saying that. It's appreciated. Bemel and I will do our best to be an asset on this trip rather than a burden. That is nice. I'm not afraid to be out here, though. Still, at least with your training, you should be able to take care of yourselves. It's comforting to know that everyone here is so confident in their abilities, not enough to forget how terrible it feels to be over this lake. I am not sure if that is fortunate or unfortunate. Believing yourself to be secure doesn't mean that you are. As the conversation lulls, a new sound breaks through. It's the whispering noise again. It's the chatter of inhuman voices, and this time coming from all around us. Creepy. Taking care of yourself is exactly what you need to do. The guide is speaking again, except louder, as if to cover the Nick's-eyes voices with his own. Work to survive at all costs and hope that everyone around you has enough sense to do the same. That's the only way you'll make it to the other side. Margaret nods in response, but I wanted to give him the Jeremy voice, but it just kind of went into something really, like, feelingless, but I guess that works. I love the lamp that he's, like, and how it, like, lights up his face. The art of this is pretty nice. I like it. Very fitting. Margaret nods in response, but I hear a grunt from behind me. Groups tend to go further when they work together to achieve the same goal. The guide doesn't say anything in response to Bemel's grumbling either. Bemel. I'm not sure whether he didn't hear Bemel or whether he didn't feel the statement made thus far worthy of addressing. I have a feeling it's the latter. We go around a large bend in the bridge. Part of it forking off into another way. I wonder how the guide knows which one of these essentially identical paths is correct when something in the corner of my eye catches my attention. I believe I saw something over there. Keep walking, no need to worry. The guide's voice is calm and level. I decide to keep pressing the issue, not wanting to set everyone... I decide against pressing the issue, not wanting to set everyone even more on edge. What did he say? Perhaps not wanting the conversation to be caught by the guide, he speaks softly, though I couldn't quite hear him because of it. Why would you do that? I don't know why that scared me shitless, but it did. It scared me shitless, and I'm not usually scared of visual novels. I take my eyes off Margaret ahead for a moment to explain it to Bemel and stop dead in my tracks. Only one word is able to escape me in my stunned state. Behind Bemel stands another figure, looming in the darkness. Seeing my face, Bemel grabs the hilt of his sword. He whips around and staggers swiftly backwards. Several meters away, a crooked, twisted black figure hobbles its way towards us. Some kind of liquid drips off its head, curling around the edges of its face. It almost looks like it's crying. Bemel backs up until he's standing beside me. The figure continues its slow advance, head jerking from one angle to another. What on earth? It's one of them. Yes, Nick's either stumble across the bridge looking for opportunities. The guide is standing next to us. I don't even notice him approach. The ones that can make it out of the water are generally referred to as prowlers. I had no idea things like that were out here. Is that what Kickett I saw down the other path? The guide says nothing, instead returning to the front of the party. Margaret watches him pass. Her frustration morphs into nervous optimism when something seems to come to her mind. Well, Nixai aren't slowed down much by swords, but at least the light keeps them away, right? Margaret's hand grips her face tight. What? Desperation bleeds into her voice. I bite the inside of my lip. Direct light will force it to return to the lake. However, it will try to drag the light, or you, down with it before it goes. Instinctively, I reach for the hilt of my sword, despite the fact that it would do little to protect me. The prowler is getting closer, jerking forward, stopping, then resuming its slow advance. Okay, does anyone have a light we can leave here? That way it won't follow us. Only matches. Bemel spits. He's the one bringing up the rear, so he's the most likely to be in danger if it keeps following. The guide, however, moves forward. Don't forget it's there, don't let your guard down, and don't get left behind. What? How am I supposed to keep walking with this thing at my heels? You said it wants to attack. Don't give it a chance. Bemel spurts in anger, and the guide summarily ignores him. I solidly grab hold of Bemel's upper arm. Here, I'll lead you like this, and you can keep focused solely on the prowler. Make sure it doesn't get too close. Bemel's eyes the guide with unresolved hostility, but allows himself to softly sigh in relief. He gazes at me with fondness. At least there's someone I can count on. Despite the fact I'm going against his advice, the guide says nothing more. It's clear now that he doesn't give a damn what we end up doing. Some part of me is glad of that. I want to help everyone make it through, and it would be worse to persuade the guide every time help was necessary. Keka, thank you. Bemel places a gentle hand on my shoulder. Jesus Christ, it always scares the shit out of me. Alright. So it's obvious that the whole, apparently the Bemel romancing is going well. Jeez. I guess it kinda, the first choice was very important. Kinda locked in. Oh god, I can't get over that thing over his shoulder, that's terrifying. Okay, maybe we should turn down the light in here, just to like, give it more of a spooky atmosphere. I might do that actually, give me a second. Alright, I have turned down the light, and so it's pretty damn dark in here. I have tea, and I'm ready to keep going, because I just remembered this is horror, so we gotta get in the mood for horror. Even though I already proved myself to be a coward from just being scared of one, like, not even jump scare. It wasn't even a jump scare. Whatever. Romance, that's where we are. You know what? Bemel, you're cute. Let's do it. Like, I'm an opportunist. I feel Bemel start as I reciprocate his touch, but as quickly a smile replaces his shock. The moment is pleasant, a small balm against a large burn. I harden my expression, and Bemel follows suit. He moves his free arm down. I fully link his arm with mine, now properly settled to look forward. Margaret is following the guide with some reluctance, turning back ever so often to check on us. I wave. Fuck. I keep doing that. Please. Please? Thank you. Just need to check. I wave my lantern to signal we're catching up. There you go. Just had to get the last part of that. That thing is just gonna be behind Bemel the entire time. I don't feel safe with that. No, actually, I don't feel Bemel is safe from that. Margaret returns to head to the front and quickens her pace. With a tug on Bemel, we start to follow them. The four of us continue cautiously over the bridges. Only this time, the wet, squishing footsteps of the prowlers join the sound of our own. In spite of myself, I grip Bemel tighter. The prowlers walk without a set pattern, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. It takes long steps, then short ones. At times, it stops walking entirely. Does it hurt to be out of the water like this? Or is it trying to be difficult to read? Suddenly, the whispering lake, grow in the lake grows louder. I steel myself, trying not to let it get to me. Actually, you know what? I might turn the sound up and the music down a bit so I can hear or past the music, but the sound is gonna scare me, probably. Good enough. Suddenly, the whispering of the lake grows louder. I steel myself, trying not to let it get to me. The most important thing in a situation like this is to remain calm. I can't lose my head. Then, all at once, I notice that the guide and Margaret has come to a halt. Bemel, they're stopping. Bemel slows down as I do, and I think I made her voice much deeper than I did in the beginning. I'm not good at consistent voices. That's a thing. Ah, tea's so good in the throat. And Bemel slows down as I do, and as we near Margaret's back, she says something with akin to distress. There's another one. I tug on Bemel, and he understands. We draw up close to Margaret, ready to protect her if need be, but the guide holds out a hand. Do not come any closer. Just over his shoulder, I see another prowler stumbling towards us, white liquid dripping from its eyes. The guide's hand turns over in the air, palm up. Give me a lantern. We'll throw it. Margaret extends her own with a trembling hand when Bemel speaks instead, his back still turned. If you had to take someone's, take mine. Yes, an extra light won't do us much good when we're standing this close together. Margaret takes Bemel's lantern from him, guarded relief displayed on her features. Thank you. She hands the lantern to the guide, whose hand grips it tightly, knuckles growing pale. Stay here. I can't throw it too far. The light will blow out before it reaches the necks. Ugh, the gross. Oh god. He steps closer to the monster, his movements light and confident. As he nears the prowler starts to back away. Is it only approaching the light? Is it only the approaching light that's making it retreat, or are they afraid of him? The guide is far enough away from us that the fog is partially obscuring him, hiding his movements. The voices from the lake grows louder and louder. The water suddenly begins to splash across the lake in the distance and onto the edges of the bridge. They want him to mess up. Then suddenly, the guide takes multiple long and fast strides forward, throwing the lantern, and jumps backwards to regain the lost distance. Shh! There's a sharp hiss, and then a deep splash, and the voices of the Nix's eye grows quieter. Not silent, but quieter. A sigh escapes me. The guide comes back up to our group. We should keep going before it comes back. I glance at Bebel and realize he too is looking relieved at the guide before us. Then I see it. The first prowler. It's still there. It's right there. I shift around, pulling Bemel behind me. The prowler lunges after him, barely missing Bemel but striking my lantern instead. The fire goes out, and the two of us are plunged into an unearthly darkness. This is bad, but I need to save him. I don't want him to die. Oh no, what do I do? Was that the wrong choice? Oh god, I hate this. Then, there's a slick splash. I realize the Nyx has retreated into the water. Somehow, Bemel and I are still standing. We're still here. Kika, thank you. I can't respond. Something cold, wet, and slimy has grabbed my ankle. Already? I'm gonna die. Okay. Kick it off! Kick it off! Oh my god! I kick my leg out as fast as I can, and Nyx's hold slips. It can't pull with the momentum I've gained against it. Margaret rushes to my side, her lantern hanging out towards the Nyx. The light brushes over its face. We see it for an instant, its eyes wide, then it slides back into the smooth surface of the water. Bemel grabs Margaret and I, both helping us towards the center of the bridge, cussing under his breath. I only looked away for 1 second. It's fine, Bemel. We're all fine. Are you actually alright? Margaret cocks her head down, examining my ankle, but there's nothing but a wet smudge around my trousers. I am fine. I say that, though I don't actually want to let go of Bamel. I need to in order to relight our lantern and provide us actual safety, but I feel a strong desire to be left alone, to be not alone in this moment. I shake my head roughly and let go of him, relighting the lantern as fast as I'm able. I love the lighting. I just love the lighting on the characters. It just gives it that extra oomph instead of, so the characters actually feel like part of the story and scenery instead of just like being, well, sprites that's like slapped onto the screen. Kika, thank you again. You saved my life. I won't let this happen again. Yes, it would be good for all of us to pay more attention. Margaret nods solemnly. Suddenly, it seems like we're all on the same side. It isn't only Bamel and I, she is with us. With us in more than simply presence. The guide's voice, as cold as the monster's grasp, ends my train of thought. We lost the lantern I threw, and Nyx grabbed after it and the light went out. Margaret makes a noise. I glance over, wondering whether she's upset, but there's a small smile on her face instead. Well, it's better than them taking anything else. A nervous laughter bubbles out of me, and just as quickly stops. Bamel chuckles a response, and our collective tension eases up, the adrenaline draining from our bodies. We need to keep walking. The guide starts down the bridge again, and we join him. I try to clamp down on the relief, the ease that wants to flood my head. It's not over. I'm gonna save. Save scumming, save scumming, save scumming. Yeah. The prowler is gone, but so is Bamel's lantern. You can stay near me, Bamel, since your lantern is lost. I appreciate it. Margaret goes on ahead of us. Bamel stays by my side as I keep the end of the line. At the end of the line. The breath of release for Margaret and Bamel is quickly swallowed by the somber atmosphere of the Sin-Loss as well. Replaced by the gravity of a near-death experience. Never mind celebrating his survival, something like that shouldn't have happened in the first place. The memories of the prowlers reaching out towards us appear each time I close my eyes. Don't blink. Why does it look like something is dripping down their faces? The prowlers are on Margaret's mind too. Looking at her pained expressions, it's as though the moment of relief never existed at all. I'm not sure. Me neither. Something's wrong with them though. They live in water. Air shouldn't be good for the things, but they want to drown humans so much they're willing to drag themselves on land. It's not right. Of course it isn't. They're monsters. They likely do not even understand the concept of right and wrong. Well, I don't disagree that there's something very wrong about them. I truly hope that that's the last we'll see of these prowlers. Something comes to her mind, causing Margaret to end her part of the conversation early. Since you two have to share a light, wouldn't it be safer to be in the middle? Margaret stops and waits for Bamel and I to reach her position. That way you'll catch the edges of my light and the guides, and it won't be so dangerous if Bamel loses position momentarily. That's a very kind offer, Margaret. Bamel's surprise is so apparent that I want to cover my face with my hand to stop insulting her. She merely smirks. I think Margaret may be surprised for herself too. Bamel returns to his usual surety. As thoughtful as it is, I am at least fine with bringing up the rear. I'm used to keeping watch for monsters, and since there are two of us, I can pay attention to the back while Kika focuses ahead. It's not my light though, so I shouldn't be the one to decide what she should do with it. Margaret and Bamel turns to look at me in unison. Seems like it's my decision. Neither of them are wrong. As for me, my goal is to protect everyone. Can't very well do that with Margaret following behind us. But being stuck in the middle of the group could also be dangerous depending on the circumstances we come across. Getting pincered by the enemy would be an almost sure death no matter how experienced Bamel and I are. I just don't know what to expect from this bridge, and that makes things so much more difficult. Save's coming. No. The current format works, so you're staying behind? Seems like it. Yes, I think we'll be good here. Please don't die, Bamel, please don't die. But really, thank you. That was very kind of her. Well, alright. Margaret respects our decision and trots ahead a bit to catch back up with the guide, he who has paid no mind to the entire affair. So, I don't want to sound like a child, but how much longer until we arrive at the halfway point? Margaret chuckles, reflecting the amusement I don't want to vocalize. We still have a ways to go. Damn. I suppress my laughter yet again at his pouting response. The gloom we've been under dissipates slightly, like light flickering through the fog. The first trial tends to be the most difficult. I believe we will only react better from this point on. I like the way you think. Then a gleam enters Bemel's eyes and he grins. I think Kika deserves a round of applause. Her quick reflexes are owed to the utmost, appreciation. He leans softly into my shoulder, trying to get me to... What? It was indeed a sight. You're quite capable. Bemel was also a sight, but for very different reasons. The way he froze with his mouth all he gave was a laugh in itself. Bemel shakes a fist at Margaret in mock anger, then shoots me an affectionate look. You should know, she and I are on equal footing. Ha! The only reason you had footing at all is because she pulled you back. Bemel only laughs self-consciously, scratching his head. That's very true. You can always count on Kika. I keep my eyes steadily ahead, unsure on how I should respond. I'm pleased, almost grateful to hear what they think of me, but I don't know what I could say that wouldn't seem pathetic. Instead, I contribute the best way I can. I keep my focus on the path ahead of us. Without a response from me, the conversation quickly dies out. Still, it eases my heart to be on such friendly terms with my companions. Alright, I think that's a good place to end the episode. This seems very interesting so far. I am interested in seeing where it goes from here on out. I hope you guys enjoyed. At some point Airborne Light will be back. Maybe even when the full version is out, because it's still in beta. That might be interesting. I think she is getting closer to finishing the game, so that's exciting. Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry for the long radio silence as always. There were actual reasons for it this time. I may be coming up with an update or something at some point. For now, hope you enjoy this, and bye.